You are watching Access LaPorte County Channel 97. Coming up next is the December 14th meeting of the Michigan City Board of Aviation Commissioners. You can find more information for this meeting at www.accesslaportecounty.org.
Call to order, Board of Aviation Commissioners monthly meeting, December 14th. Time now is 1:03. Members present, T.Y. Okason, Kurt Hunter, myself, Jeff Bartlett, Airport Manager Jessica Ward, Airport Consultant Paul Schaefer, and Airport Liaison Gene Simmons with us today. Reading of the minutes, everybody get a chance to look at November 16th minutes.
I move that we accept it as written.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And by the way, we do have a quorum for members present for today's meeting. Reports, financial, December 2023 account balances.
Alrighty,
Thank you.
so everybody should have account balances in their folder. The transfer request to rectify our over budget line items is going to be sent Monday to the controller's office. All the transfers are, of course, minor transfers. We've talked about them in the last couple of meetings, so you know which ones are negative on the line item sheet. There may be a few more invoices that I'm going to have trickle in. Marcos Electric just finally put up the light up on our building for the ramp lighting, so that looks really nice. And I'm just need to do a couple more little orders, like paper towel for the bathrooms and stuff. January, we usually can't spend any money except for utility bills, so we try and get everything knocked out in December that we can. So right now, this is pretty much where everything's going to stand at the end of the year. We've used 74% of our budget so far. And aviation fuel, we got that increase, the $100,000 increase. So we're sitting at a balance of $64,027.19 in there. So that'll all go right back to the city. We don't need it. We don't use it. All of our other things, the SRE building is almost closed out. The bill grant is closed out for it. But we just have the Marquis light that needs to come out of that. And then the SRE building is going to be closed out as well. The only open encumbrance that we have right now that I'm going to try and move over to the next year is just that raise grant. If you guys remember, we did that marketing plan for the runway from that raise grant to help also find other funding for the project. So I finally got back to Katie with a couple more changes, and then I'm going to send it out to like our EDC and chamber and see if they have anything like new pictures or different things they want to add to it, and then we'll be able to close that out. So hopefully by January, February, we'll be all done with that one. And everything else, the above ground fuel tanks, I'm going to encumber that, of course, the $800,000 for that. It's actually $769,450.80. That's going to move over to New Year, and we're still looking for funding for that. We're working on that, and that pretty much is our account balances for this next year. Next meeting, I'll make sure that I have all of our new balances for you guys and just everything that's come out in between, now and our next board meeting.
Is it normal to have like 25% still available to be spent from our budget?
No, the reason that we have that much available to spend is just because of the part-time person. Remember, Chris got hired way later in the year, and I'm still have one position that's open. Okay. So if I actually had full staff, then we would be close to nothing left.
Okay. I'm glad everything's working out. The report looks great. So,
thank you.
Thanks. November 2023 fuel sales.
Sure. Overall, we sold 1,581.3 gallons of 100 low lead, 535.7 gallons of Jet A, and 532.3 gallons of Swift fuel in November. Our current fuel prices are lowest around now before Knox had us beat on a couple. $4.99 for self-service avgas, $5.19 for full-service avgas, $4.24 for self and full-service Jet A, and $6.70 for self-service UL 94. We did just receive another load of UL 94. The price didn't change, but man, have we sold. I mean, even just look at this month of November, we were up 248% that month in fuel sales for UL 94. I mean, we are selling it like crazy. So, but total down below, you can see we sold 5,026.2 gallons. We get about 900 and maybe 65 gallons each time. So that's
How many?
about 965 or so, I would say. It's a 1,000-gallon tank, and you have to keep the
Sure.
10% in it. So yeah, we're doing really
That's
good.
good.
And of course, hopefully next year we'll be back up to on top for our year to date fuel sales. But we had the whole project with the suction arm and not having self-service avgas until July this year, and then it barely even worked until August, and so that really killed us this year. But next year we should be. Yep, everything's been going great. There's been no problems with the avgas at all. I do have a Swift fuel hose. The hose has a little hole in it, and so we have a new Swift fuel hose that I just ordered.
Okay.
So we have that in. We just need it installed. The people that used to do our installation was Perry Maintenance. They're the ones who would service our fuel farm. And Perry Maintenance, they are getting out of aviation because the person that did aviation took over like his dad's business. So now I'm gonna have to find another. I know we have like Hoosier equipment and stuff, but they're way like down in Indy. So I don't know. I'm gonna have to find somebody else that's kind of around here more so. Maybe like up into Michigan or something. There's somebody. But Phillips 66 helps us find that because we're a branded fuel, so they're the ones that help us figure out who, to service the pumps and things like that. So I'm going to reach out to them and see if they have anybody else up here that they can suggest.
Good idea.
Do you think that the UL 94 sales increase, is that because of increased
Flight school, right?
Oh, it's all flight school? Okay.
Yeah. We still have a lot of transient. Like if you look at the transient up at the top, it says self-service. You can look at like base is 344.7. That's how much fuel just the flight school bought in November. And then the transient is 187.6. So before, that's about where we were. We were about maybe 200 gallons a month. You know what I mean? Like each month, that'd be kind of like on average. But now you also add in the 344.7, which is the flight school, and that's like over doubling our fuel sales compared to like the years prior. Like if you look in 2023, we're at 532.3, and last year in 2022 we only sold 150 gallons that month, and this month we said 532.3. So the flight school is really helping out a lot with the fuel cells. They use UL 94 only. That's the only fuel they use in all their aircraft.
That's good.
So yeah.
All right, moving on.
Sure. New Holland tractor repair. Boy, oh boy. So the repair should actually be wrapping up today. I just got a text from the woman there yesterday. So the gear wouldn't sit correctly in the new housing that was installed. Isn't that great? The mechanics at New Holland, Rochester, they had an assist with like the corporate New Holland to find out why that was. They only received like blueprint specs from them for the gears, which they already knew, the blueprint specs, because obviously they're putting it in. So they had to send the gear to get it machined to fit in the housing. So that just got back, and then the repair should be completed today.
Shouldn't be additional cost to us.
So I don't think it will be. I mean, for the machining, because they do that all kind of like, they have a company that does like their machining or whatever, kind of in-house or whatever, so I'm sure not. I think the only additional, we're gonna have to pay for the other gear because a gear wasn't in that first quote. And then the machining maybe on the housing, the original machining to get us to be able to reuse. Remember, there were 3 options for the housing: buy a new one, try and find another one, at like a junkyard or, a place like that, or else the other option was to machine the housing that we had, if that was even possible. They were able to machine the housing that we had. So that's saved us a lot on like the new housing. So I haven't gotten, anything on that yet.
Did they machine the housing or the gear?
Houses. They machined the housing originally, because remember, we needed a new housing.
Yeah.
So we either had to get a brand new housing, which was a lot more, or else we'd try and find one, which she called around every place she could think of and nobody had one, so that didn't work out. Or she was gonna send it to the machine shop and try and get it fixed, you know what I mean, the housing that we had. So they were able to do that, like fix the housing, and I don't know. She just didn't want to give it back to us and have it fail again, of course, I mean, for warranty and everything else. So she wanted to make sure it wasn't going to fail again, so that's why they like machine the housing to make sure the gear fits perfect and everything, so that's really good. But it seems like it might be like a New Holland error, you know what I mean, like an actual.
Do they give us a timeline when we might be able to get that back?
today, yeah, repair should be done today. The next couple days, hopefully I'll hear, they're just gonna wait for transport, to pick it up, and I wanna know how much it costs, is what I wanna know,
Right.
so.
Oh, yeah, not for the trip. We know the transport's $3,000 round trip.
It was just 1,500 round trip.
Oh, it was round trip,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah, that's good.
So yeah, so as soon as I get that estimate, I'll send it to you guys. So you know, or not the estimate, the actual price, because we already had the estimate.
Thank you.
All right, equipment moving to the SRE building. So Rudy and Chris have been working on moving equipment to the new building. A lot of it's in already. They've done a really good job so far. They have everything hanging on the walls. All the equipment, they're doing all the oil changes and air filter changes, and sharpening all the blades or putting on new blades as needed, and washing the equipment before moving it to the new building, because I want everything to be sparkly clean in there. So they've been working on that. I'd say about half the equipment's in there now, and the other half they're still working on getting out there. So that's been nice. You saw we have IT out there now. They're running the Wi-Fi and the lines for the phone, because we're gonna need phone out there. So they're here doing that. They're gonna have to hand dig to the building. So they said it's gonna take a couple days, but then we should have Wi-Fi and phone service over there as well. We've already installed the interior bathroom walls. I don't know much about installing walls, but there's like plywood on the inside, and then you have to fit the plumbing, and then you can put the plywood on the outside of the frame, if that makes sense. So we have the inside done. We still need to get the door, the sink, the hot water heater, the toilet, and just the 5 pieces of plywood for the outside of the walls, or whatever you would call it. And then the bathroom will be complete. I'm waiting on the controller's office to let me know if they want me to take it out of this year. If they want me to take it, I have like $1,700 left on the building. If they want me to take it out of that, because that's originally supposed to be with the building, but we had to pull money out in order to fit it all, in our budget. And so we're doing it in-house instead now, so I don't know if just those items can be taken out. So I'm waiting on them to give me a
Are
little.
we allowed to take some of that money from the salaries, since we're, shorthanded anyway?
Yeah, so we can only do minor transfers. I have money in our operating budget,
Okay.
in order to do that, but we have like a hold on everything. We don't want to spend too much unless we have permission at this point.
That's
So
fair.
we're just making sure that I have permission wherever they want me to take it, I'll take it from there.
Sounds
So,
good. Excellent.
I
so
know this
hopefully
is,
that'll be in.
I know you're on top of this, but is there anything that we need to encumber before the end of the year? You usually
We
address
cannot encumber. The only thing we encumber is our actual encumbrances right now. So I'll be able to encumber, like the raise grant, I'm gonna encumber that. And then the above ground fuel tank, I'm gonna encumber those funds. Those are the only 2 funds. We used to be able to encumber from our operating budget. I mean, that was like years and years pre-COVID. Even probably 4 years earlier than COVID, maybe. But yeah, we haven't been able to do that in many, many, many years. So there's that. City Department Chili Cook-Off, benefiting Meals on Wheels. That was fun. I saw Andy there. Airport got first place.
Excellent.
And the city department's got 2 years in a
Fix was
row.
it.
Woo! I'm undefeated. I'm undefeated.
That's on the webpage, right?
Yeah, right?
That's
It raised $790 for Meals on Wheels.
Excellent. Nice job.
Yeah, so that was really good. It was a blast. We had a really good time. This year was a little different because they had the parade in it too, that Santa parade or whatever they call it. They had that parade in there, as well as the lighting of the Christmas tree, and then the lights all went on at Washington Park, and so it was really fun. And there was a really, really great turnout, better turnout than last year. So that's awesome. But yeah, undefeated 2 years in a row. So my plaque will go back on the wall with my name twice. Airport. It's the airport chili. So that's all for the year.
But it's nice to get the recognition.
It is. It is. So yeah, there's that. Were you out there? Were you able to go?
No,
Okay.
I was at Festival of Light in the evening collecting at the gate.
Oh yeah.
Yes, we did real well.
Yeah.
It was a good night.
Yeah, that's good.
Steady. Yeah.
Good all the way
Yeah.
around.
Those buckets were just like,
Yeah.
Nice.
yeah.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
Some good weather too.
The weather wasn't bad at all. I mean, it was a good night. Hey, most, I would say 85 to 90% of the people coming through gave.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's good.
It's really good.
CAP AEM membership. Oh, this was fun. So I recently attended a meeting at Barker Middle School, and it was with Johnny Stimley to learn about the Civil Air Patrol Aerospace Education member opportunities. I know that's like a lot, but it's aerospace education. So I really loved it, and I decided to get like a membership for myself for the airport. So I joined as an aerospace education member, so now I have access to like all their aerospace and STEM education materials and kits to promote, you know, aerospace, aviation related. They have tons of aviation curriculum, of course, because it's Civil Air Patrol. And they have project ideas. So I received my first kit in January here,
Nice.
and it's going to be a weather station. Isn't that going to be
Good.
cool?
Yeah.
So I'm really excited about that and teach kids about weather and get them out here. We'll see. I figured I'd start out easy with like a weather station because I love weather.
Now, will they be able to like log on and they can monitor our weather
Yeah,
and things like that?
so you can put it together with the STEM kits. It's really cool because you tell them how many kids you think that you're going to have, like doing like a program with the weather station, and then they'll send out as many kits as they feel like you need for that amount of kids. And it doesn't have to be education members, but a lot of them are. Most of the time, it's like teachers, which is why we met at Barker Middle School for their like STEM teacher, you know, to get involved. And so, but like, there's a lot of libraries that have it and things like that that become members because the kit's free. It's $35, that's all it costs, and that's like a membership for like the beginning. And then if you remember to renew your membership, it's free. You never pay money like ever again. Unless you forget to renew your membership, then you have to pay another $35 the next year or whatever if you don't, register in time. But you get a kit a month. Every month you can get a new kit. You just have to kind of send them, so you get the kit, you figure out how to use it, then you bring in the kids, they take like a questionnaire beforehand to see like what they know about weather. It's just like kind of little questions that they'll send me. And then at the end of it, they want to see like how much they grew with the STEM kit. Like, did it help? Did they learn anything? And so then after that, you see like how much they grew with it. And then you send it back, and then you just like order your next STEM kit. And so there were tons of there's like airplanes on there, like model airplanes. There's a drone on there. There's all kinds of cool stuff.
That's neat.
And so I was pretty excited about, the weather station and see how close it is to our AWAS. That's why I got that first. How good is this equipment first, right? So, but yeah, it'll be really fun. So I'm excited about that.
Where do you set it up?
I don't know. I'll find out when I get it.
Oh, okay.
Probably right off.
Speaking of AWAS, was AWAS ever fixed?
Yeah, so the AWAS, we still have the old antenna. Remember they ordered the wrong frequency range for the antenna. So we're waiting on our new antenna to get here, which is the higher frequency range, which is what we need for the, frequency for the AWAS. And then Scott will install it when it gets here. So IT's ordering it. It's on hold. So, but yes, it's here. The old one, the other one's here, it's just the wrong range.
Well, great job taking the initiative on getting that
Yeah, I'm
membership
excited. That'll
and
be
something
fun.
else to bring to the airport for the community.
Yeah, it's gonna be super fun.
All right.
Add to our drone program.
Airport development.
That's you.
Yeah,
Mr.
it's me. I just sent you the email that had the submitted CIP. I forgot that we approved it last time, but you never got the full copy, so I circulated that out to you all. There are no action items, just update on a few of these items. Of course, the SRE building, as Jessica reported, the grant there is financially zeroed out, but we don't have the closeout letter, so we're still waiting on that. On the runway extension project, not a ton going on there. Still working on that Leslie property swap. I bumped Bill Nelson again recently to see if he had heard anything on that. And then I also mentioned that I need to work with Bill to get this MOU put together for the city water department. The water department's working within their right-of-way, which is well within their rights, but they're going to make some adjustments to the line, and we wanted to have memorandum of understanding of how that would work when we do get to the runway project and who's responsible for
Because we
it.
had the meeting with them, was that after the last board meeting? I feel like it was. We
Yes,
had a
it
meeting
was.
with the water department. Jake and Paul and Chris from the water department came and,
Yeah. So I think that's a positive deal, but I need to work with Bill to get that drafted and sent over to them. The runway crack ceiling and service code. So I've pre-gamed this with NDOT and FAA. Both think it's a good idea. So the next step will be to get you a professional services agreement to do that. Hopefully I'll have that done next month. And the new thing with the FAA now is this Part 163 study they have to approve and the environmental before they'll write the grant. So there's probably, even though we'll apply and so forth like that, there's probably 3 months of approvals before we can even advertise this stuff. So that'll be in the agreement. So hopefully we're ready to advertise that the tail end of March or early April. Snow removal building, of course, the punch list is now complete and we're working on the closeout as I reported there on the grant itself. Fuel farm and so this before the meeting we were talking about where that executive taxiway was in the CIP, Jessica, and this refreshed my memory when we, so the way we did it in the CIP is we've got the fuel farm in there actually a couple different ways. We have the first way is this IDEM grant request, which is supposedly a 50-50 program. So, and then we have it in a fuel farm as a type 2 project, was a 75-25, which is a state request. And then our backup to the backup, we threw Bill at it, which is enough to do the 30% eligibility, but that would be a 30% FAA, 70%, I'm sorry, yeah, 30%, 70% local. So that's obviously the least attractive, so that's why we put them in that order. We do have that executive taxiway down here, but it was a type 2 in the last year.
I don't know.
It does show up, so we could change that around, particularly if we get IDEM funding or type 2 on the fuel
Yes.
farm. Then we can
Yeah.
change that other one around, or what have you, so.
Tell me about the IDEM funding. Do they have money that's been allocated to them?
Right. Yeah, so the item, and this all kind of came up when, so they collect 1 penny for every gallon of fuel, regardless of the fuel type in Indiana. IDEM does. And it goes into a fund that's supposed to help with cleanup or replacement of underground storage tanks. And the fund is called the LUST Fund, the Leaky Underground Storage Tank Fund. That money is accumulating in there. While aviation, there were 2 parts of it. Aviation has claimed a very small amount of money. So generally speaking, these aren't the exact numbers, but over the life of the program, we'd paid in over $35 million. We'd only collected about $3 million. And those are even stretches. They weren't really airport, they were rental car facilities on airports. So they were still automobile claims, but on an airport of that $3 million. So we went to the legislature said, yeah, let's do this. So they are allowing us to basically sweep excess cash after items reserved. So they're now, some of that money is going to go into a state fund, the airport grant fund. But even in the balance, the part that's not swept, there's language in there that says you can request for a replacement system. So now several of the airports are going to start submitting, and Bart is from Aviation Indiana is going to start helping. We anticipate the answer is going to be no, but then he's going to take all those no's and go to the legislature and ask why aren't airports eligible if gas stations are eligible and so forth. So that's the plan, and
Because that change was, what, 5 years ago that they changed
The funding?
Yeah.
Oh, no, it was just the last legislative session, July of 2023.
So I know we were talking about it.
Oh, yeah.
Years past.
It's been we've been talking about that fund for 5 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it finally made it in there. So we're going to try to get the item 50/50 money first. If that doesn't work, then we'll try the state aviation grant fund, which would be 75/25.
But the only problem with that is it's gonna take forever.
That's right, because we show it in 2025. The reality of it is because of the way the bill fund, the bipartisan infrastructure legislation is, it basically doubles the state match. And so NDOT, they could be putting that 2 million, because it's going to generate about $2.5–3 million a year, they believe. But that so happens to be the match that's required for bill per year. So while we got the extra money because of bill, NDOT's got to match that. Bill doesn't end until 2026. So chances are you may not have a state fund until 2027. But we put it in there in 2025 to let them know we need it. And then we've got the bill backup there, which, I don't know how the city council will feel. 30 cents on the dollar is better than no cents on the dollar, but it's still not what we pitched. So we certainly need to go back to them before we go and do
And
that.
it's gonna be all new. Well, there's a couple of people.
Yeah, there's several left on, it's 5 coming on. Yeah,
So 4 staying, 5 coming on? Is there 9?
9.
4 staying, 5
Yeah.
coming on.
Put in a good word for it.
Yes. We've got Gene, so we're good.
Gene's not coming back on.
No, but
Well, Gene can be your
liaison.
liaison. as
To the liaison.
as
Ah!
the
Yeah.
liaison.
Airport lobbyist.
There you go.
That's everything I got. Next month we'll
Hopefully have some
work on
action
this
items.
runway crack
Yeah.
stuff.
All right.
And then
Well, I'm just finally glad to see movement on our 420-some acres of annexation out here.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's gonna be big.
Very true.
All right, that completes airport development, old business. I don't see anything that we have on there. Is there any new business?
Oh, thanks, okay. Yeah, did everybody get that? It came out late.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I saw it,
Did you
but
ever
I didn't get a
I
chance.
didn't just look at it, but some questions on there.
Just a quick question about
Sure.
the old facility there. What's gonna be planned for that?
The fuel farm?
No, the old facility. You're moving to the building.
Oh, yes, the facility next to us. Well, I'm gonna use it for overnights, definite, because we seriously have no overnight availability. People come in, especially in the winter, or if it's storming in the summer
So we
too.
did have
And they just needed an
overnight with the hangar that's now moving out to the,
Yeah, we didn't, I think, maybe it was only one. We've always had overnight storage space in one of our T hangars. Either Taggart gave us, it was like on an honor system, or Dale in his T hanger section, but we're full. Every hangar out here is full. So we don't have any availability, so that's gonna be overnight. I also was talking to, the Civil Air Patrol. They wanted to try and start like a cadet program. And that would be kind of cool to have at the airport. LaPorte Squadron is like an older senior squadron, so they don't have any cadets over there. Lake Station has a ton of cadets, and they have nowhere to go. And Michigan City's got great demographics for having a cadet program here. And so they wanted to, start a cadet program too. So they were looking for space. So it wouldn't be like they would have the whole hangar all the time, but just a space in it, you know what I mean? That would kind of be for theirs. And then events, any events that we have, obviously, that's where events would be. We are having, so the city, we are set up to have 2 events next year. And that's set up through our we have special events now for the city. And so our event coordinator, they want to do 2 events out here next year. They're throwing together all kinds of stuff. And as soon as they do, they're going to come out here and meet with me and see what I think. One of them, they wanted to try and do a hot air balloon. So I thought that'd be pretty cool, so.
That'd be really neat.
Yeah, so they have all kinds of cool stuff that they're thinking about for out here to do, some sort of 2 special events.
Okay, thank you.
And so we would use that building for that as well. So I have money in next year's budget that I already asked for, to clean that all out, that whole section. Oh, hold on, I got it. Sorry. 1 minute. So just to put a few more like lights in there, clean the floor, repaint all the walls, things like that, so. That's all in next year's budget to make that as nice, fix the ceiling, insulation.
How big an airplane can we get in there?
We can get small airplanes, like,
Probably at least 3 small ones, right?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, I
You
think
have to
it's,
strategically place them.
I mean, we couldn't put a king air in there or anything like that.
Okay.
But we'd be able to at least fit a couple, I don't know, small single engine things in there.
You can't get a king air?
Definitely not.
Too short.
And King Air,
Yeah,
can't go in there?
nope, it will not fit.
Your wingspan wise, but not high.
It's the tail height
Yeah.
for the door.
Yeah.
We've already measured for a king air.
All right. This claims docket, everybody had a chance to see that?
Yes.
I would like to make a motion to approve the claims docket for $12,720.97.
I move we accept the claims docket for $12,720.97.
Do I have a second? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries, thank you. Public comment, anything? Go ahead.
I missed last month, so I did a couple things. Number one, I noticed in ForeFlight, if you look at glide slope for our runways, it says none. We actually have two light happy on either end. So I don't know how you update that, but we should be getting credit for it since we have it, right? So I don't.
We don't have a vertically guided GPS approach.
No, but there's a 2 light happy, right? So that's what I'm talking about. It's like,
Mhm.
if we had a VASI or a 4 light path, it would say in ForeFlight what you have, but it just doesn't say, it says we have none.
Okay.
But we do, so we should say.
So we're trying to update the navigation equipment on the ForeFlight app.
Yeah, I think it's correct in the FAA, it's just on ForeFlight. So I don't know if we have, is there like a contact person that we talk to, or
Okay,
it's just a matter of
Oh, at ForeFlight?
calling up ForeFlight and saying, hey, this is wrong,
okay.
fix it. Because that's what everybody looks at, right? I mean,
Yeah, it's the most popular one, that's Jet.
yeah.
Oh, does Jet have that too then? I've got Jet at home, I can look that up.
It probably does. I don't know.
Because I think Jet owns ForeFlight now, don't they?
It's all the same.
Yeah. All right, I'll take a look at that too.
And then number 2, in the summer there was a brochure that was being put together. I think probably your company did. Is that public yet? Or is that what you were talking about?
That's what I was talking about, yeah, well, the
Is that
marketing
public
plan.
yet?
No,
Okay.
it will be soon,
Okay. Looking forward to that.
yeah. And it's just our marketing plan, so we can try and get funds for the
Yeah.
runway extension.
I think I'd love to be able to get that in people's hands. And then number 3, too, I already brought up, but when will that be available for storage for overnights? And do you know how much it's gonna cost?
I don't know. I don't know when it'll be available. Usually, we've always done overnights at like $30, yeah, right, like $30 a night, and it's just like on an honor system. But that was when other people owned hangars, not us. So it'll actually be like a cost here. So I'm assuming it'd probably be like $30 a night or something like that, $40 a night.
So if you buy fuel, then it's
Yeah.
still free and stuff like that.
Yeah, we could figure out something like that.
What do you mean by the?
But it's not gonna be available for monthly rent or anything like that.
Right. I'm just thinking it'd be great for, especially when it's cold out. It's heated, right?
It is heated, yeah.
Yeah. It'd be a great place to park overnight, keep it warm.
Yeah.
Before taking off the next day.
What do you mean it's on the honor system?
It used to be, so because the airport would kind of open up the hangars because all the hangars are privately owned out here. So the 2 hangars that we used to put airplanes in, we would open them up for the person, but they wouldn't pay us because it's not our hangar. So they would just like leave money in a little box. It was like on an honor system. They would put their money in the box, and then the airport or the hangar owner would collect it. So that's how we've always had to do it here, because we've never owned a hangar in order to store an airplane in. So we've never had that option, so.
Would there be a difference between airplane weights? So if somebody came in with a small,
Well, we only had T
RV.
hangars, before, so it was never.
so if somebody came in with an RV, which is considerably small,
Yeah,
and then somebody comes in with something bigger, would the price be the same, or would they?
so it never has before, just because it's just been one T hanger, but now that we can fit multiples in there, I'm not really sure. I mean, that's something that,
Yeah, I think
We have to
that, you
discuss.
actually make a good point, because if somebody puts a larger one in there and occupies the entire space,
Yeah.
then you can't put another one in there, but whereas if you had two for $30.
Yeah.
So maybe if you have one that occupied the whole thing, you double the price as
Yeah.
opposed to,
I think you'd have to go by size.
huh?
You'd have to go by size.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
some
not weight,
difference.
yeah, the size, right?
Yeah.
Just for your point, because no one else could.
so I'll have to figure out.
But we shouldn't exploit, you mean, just size don't mean that the pilot is that wealthy, you know what I'm saying? It could just be that they're
Yeah.
lucky to have that airplane, and but I think there needs to be some way of, at least recognizing that somebody who comes in with a small, tiny airplane is budget constrained. That's why they have that airplane.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we can give them a little break,
Yeah.
like $10 a night or 15.
Yeah, because I mean, before when it was on the honor system, it was just $20 a night. That's what we would tell them, and if they put money in, they put money in. But here, it's like, obviously, and I need to figure out insurance too before I can put any airplanes in there. We do not have insurance on our buildings to be able to put somebody else's airplane.
We have
So.
a camera on that building, because if we're sharing it with, you were saying like if somebody patrol or somebody else wanted
Yeah,
to
that's
too,
all something we'd have to figure out later.
we need a
Yeah.
camera on that building and
Yeah.
who's coming in and going out.
Correct.
Yeah, the FAA does not have the PAPIs published. This has been a point of contention here, because those PAPIs were installed
Privately.
privately.
They're not airport, well, I guess they're considered airport owned now, but they weren't airport installed.
Well, we've gone, and they were published, and then they weren't, and then they said we needed a new VGSI. So see this, it's the visual glide slope indicator. There's a data sheet that goes with that, and we've submitted it on both ends multiple times.
But we calibrated it once.
Yeah, we did.
What's the calibration? Is that like every 2 years?
It's
or
as
every
high,
2 years?
it's,
They're both 4 degrees.
yeah, it's as
No, but
high.
I mean, what's the certification like? Do you have to get them like, well, somebody has to fly here for
I think
that
it was every
day
2
and do a
years, wasn't it?
calculation, or
So, I mean,
take sure
technically,
they're off, or?
like when we installed new ones today, they're flight checked. When we
Yeah.
install them with federal money, they receive a flight check, and that's what triggers the publication. But these have been in there since the 90s, that a private company paid to have them in there. So they were never really flight checked, although the FAA is flight checking when they come around and do their procedures checks. So they have flown them, and I think that's what flagged, hey, we don't have a VGSI data sheet in there. That's because not one never existed. So we backed into it and we submitted it. And I will email them again to Jessica, and she can forward them, or we can forward them on to NDOT. Because NDOT should be able to enter them in the master record as well. But thanks for pointing that out.
Good catch, Paul. Kudos to the-
No, what I'm asking is just, we should, for the winter, get rid of that popcorn maker and put a chili crock pot there with your chili.
All the trophies out there.
Yeah. Trophies.
Thank you. That concludes public comment. Adjourn. Is there a motion to adjourn?
I make that motion.
Is there a second?
I second.
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. That concludes our meeting. Thank you.